the next few pages are just kind of some snapshots of what our department does. So just our agency overview of things that we do, and we always add some fun pictures because it's way more fun to look at pictures than to read. If you will.
Like our
And then just kind of what we do on a daily basis. So equipment maintenance, station maintenance. We are very, very lucky that we have a lot of talented firefighters on our department that have backgrounds in as mechanics, as masons, as carpentry. So things that need to be done at the fire department get done in-house, and we do not go outside the department for a lot of things. So anything on our trucks that can be done in-house, we do. We do partner with our DPW to assist us with some kind of things that are beyond our scope. But anything that's not catastrophic pretty much is done in our department. So oil changes, brake repairs, things like that are all done in-house by our firefighter. And then another huge part of our job is fire inspecting. So on page 16, you'll see the breakdown of fire inspections, hours, and town of Sevastopol is midway down. Total of 143 inspections, that would be regular and green inspections, and 32 burn permits. The city fire department took over issuing burn permits, I don't know, a handful of years ago, and I think has heard a lot of complaints, so.
Well, it's worked very well.
We haven't got complaints from our guys. I think people are understanding the process now. You know, the first couple of years was just to understand the process, but it seems like it's going okay from what we are seeking. And then another big thing of another big part of our days and our weeks is training. So bottom right-hand corner, that was some training that we were doing out at Cape Point with some, not new equipment, but some new operations that we have tried to do, knowing that Cape Point is kind of one of our major issues for rescues and access at all times of the year. So, and then our last page is just our fire prevention and community risk reduction. So, kind of a quick snapshot of your fire department and what we do for you. And if anybody has any questions.
Anyone in the audience have a question for the chief?
On page 16, how are you using the drones?
We use the drone, we have 2 drones currently, and we use them for search and rescue, missing persons. We use them for,
Like the wooded areas?
yeah, for fire incidents, to check, areas that we wouldn't have to put somebody into a building, but it's got a FLIR thermal imaging on it. We use it for promotional things for our DPW. Sometimes asks us to go fly an area to measure an area or to see an area. We've talked with our DPW about water weeds. They won't have to put a boat in. We can just fly the drone and search for water weeds in the areas that they need to go. Currently, well, up until about a month or 2 ago, I was the only drone operator. We've now got 3 more operators. I'm sorry, myself and one of our lieutenants, and we have 3 more operators now. So, we're trying to work smarter, not harder. When we can put a drone up and send somebody to an area versus sending personnel to, possibly search a field. If we can put a drone up there with the thermal capabilities, it really is a huge asset to us. So, our new drone we took delivery of we've had it about a year now. So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Jim, you had a question?
Yes, in my various reading, I see one of the challenges today is electric car fires and lithium battery fires in general. Difficult to handle. I don't see in the training that sort of training is it vast, or how are you getting ready for?
So we have been doing a lot of electric vehicle training. Not so much hands-on, because there's not a lot of electric vehicles that we can get our hands on that we can start on fire. But CW is really great about giving us some cars. Unfortunately, they haven't given us any electric cars yet. So the hands-on aspect of it, but we have not been able to do, but the research and the amount of time that, we have one lieutenant who is very interested in, and he has put in a ton of work and, to the point of working with, tow truck drivers, because although we can put a fire out, the studies and the incident may go beyond, right? So, one of the tow truck drivers may take it to an impound lot or, to a junkyard, and there could be up to 3 days to a week after that, there could be an incident that happens. So, educating, our law enforcement partners and our tow truck drivers, because the way that, when I was, initially in school for fire service, is not the way that you do things with an electric vehicle fire. So it's kind of that reteaching ourselves how to handle those kind of new operations of what we have to do, so.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure, go ahead.
The new water ice rescue squad, is that like a vehicle or a watercraft or hovercraft?
It's a vehicle. It's
It is.
it's on an international chassis, a two-person chassis and a humongous box. You cannot miss it.
It can go in the water?
No, it just
Oh.
carries all of our, it carries all diving
Okay.
equipment, all ice and water, equipment, so that
Okay.
everything is on there when we get.
Okay, thank you. Is
Yeah,
that a
page-
picture of
Yeah,
it
the-
with the raft
page-
behind?
Is it, yeah, I think there's a picture of that, on page 9, I think.
Yep,
is
this
that-
bottom right corner of page
Yeah,
9.
so
it's
that's
That-
our new,
7.2.
squad there.
Oh, yes, that is large.
It's very large.
Kind of looks like a
Actually,
bread truck we used to.
But it's already 2 years old
So-
before you got it.
So that squad there is actually, it's hard to tell, but that is actually on the ferry for a response that
thought.
we were called to for a, recovery off of Washington Island Ferry that we assisted the dive team with, so.
Okay, thank you.
It took me a while to figure out where that picture was taken, then I remember. It was a very
Yep.
late night, so.
I think you had a question.
Several of us here are related to the Masonic fraternity, and we're
Okay.
very proud that we were able to do the fire suppression throughout the county. So we're happy to do that.
Yeah, so we received and I don't know what exactly the extinguishing, called bomb for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
but it's a handheld device that you can throw into an area, and actually, Chief Olson from Southern Door Fire, had his, was very quickly on scene for a fire that was actually in the town of Nassawapi. I believe that one was in the town of Nassawapi, but it was very close to his house, and used it, and it works amazing. So, yes, we're very thankful.
John, you had a question?
Question about the recoding for EMRs.
Yes.
It dropped down to 2 balls for medical systems.
Mhm.
So does that turn into EMRs from Thomas Sevastopol getting pushed in the surgery bed? Or are you taking over EMRs and changing them in? Or is it Thomas Sevastopol? Because the numbers are so low.
So,
No, I think,
so this is only EMR calls that we were requested to go on. So on a normal EMS call in the town of Sevastopol, survey would not be called. So this would only be something that we were called to assist on. So that may be, they, maybe just needed an extra hand because it was maybe a larger patient or rough terrain or, something that they needed extra assistance for, but this does not reflect the amount of EMS calls in the town.
As
Is
far
that
as,
what you recall?
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
As far as EMS calls, so I'll just come on after you. Have you been approached by any of the town board members to take over Thomas Sevastopol EMS role?
We have not been approached to take over EMS. We've
Or
had,
absorb it, I should say?
no, that discussion has not happened. We've had talks about the EMS system in the town, but not any talks about taking over that operation.
anyone else with a question? Thank you, Keelan.
I just have one quick
Oh,
comment.
sorry, I didn't,
Just sorry.
go ahead.
I was So the community outreach, I don't know if you guys know this, but they come out, the fire department comes out and puts our bulbs in the ball field, because we have nothing around the town that can get up to our baseball lights. So they come out and do that. That's one of the pictures in there, is the ball field that was last fall. So they come out almost every fall when it's, the ground's solid enough to have that big tender out there. That's a big old ladder truck, so thank you for that. And I don't know if the people are aware of that.
And actually, our cover page is actually a fire we had in the town, this last fall, I believe. So we just thought it was a kind of a cool, it's one of our tenders where we can, pump and roll with it. We thought, well, that's kind of a cool picture. So that is actually, in the town that called us, so you guys made the cover.
Proof that you were here.
Proof that proof that your money's worth. I kept hearing the fire contract news, and I thought, oh, jeepers. I heard about that, I thought, oh.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next item brings us to the discussion with Robin Gruner with AT&T, who's gonna take you through where we're at with the project with fiber in every single home in the town of Sevastopol. And Robin, do you have a mic, or
Yes.
you do? All right.
Should I put this in front of me?
You can, or you can hold it if it's more convenient for you, whatever works.
Actually, holding would be better.
Might be actually easier to just grab it and hold it,
All right.
as long as they can hear you.
Can you hear me okay? Is that okay?
Nope.
So I'm Robin Gruner, Director of External Affairs for AT&T Wisconsin. Sorry for those of you with my back to you. And I have with me Carol Annison.
Get up and
She's also
stand
with
aside.
AT&T. We're very excited to be here. Thank you for having us, but more importantly, thank you so much to the town of Sevastopol for the enormous time, the amount of time and effort that was put into all of the research and the time to make this decision on behalf of the town, on behalf of your neighbors and constituents. AT&T was very proud to have been selected to partner with the town to bring AT&T fiber to the town of Sevastopol. Very excited to be here. There's been a lot of progress. We'll just do a quick overview and summary, and then obviously open it up to questions. If there's questions during the conversation as well, we're happy to take those. So just, I don't know how to get rid of that little square thing, so, I don't know. So, it's not mine, it's part of the wireless connection. It's part of the wireless connection, so I can't, I can't appear to move it, so I'm sorry if it's in the way here.
Is Roger still here?
I think so.
Let's see if he can-
Do you want me to wait, Jeannie, or do you want me to keep?
Wait 1 second.
Okay.
No, he left, Jeannie. Yes.
Can you hit the menu? What does it say?
Refresh connection or settings?
Go to settings.
Okay.
Sign out.
Sign out?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
See, you expanded already.
All right. Ta-da. So, just go through some of the high-level, information about the project, expanding AT&T fiber in the town of Sevastopol, Wisconsin. We are committed to bringing AT&T fiber to all of the serviceable addresses in the town of Sevastopol. That's over 2,000 customer locations across the town. Now I can't go to the next page here. Hang on. Here we go. So here's the highlights of the project. Again, over 2,000 locations across the town of Sevastopol. This is a $7.4 million project in partnership with the town of Sevastopol. So AT&T's investment in this project is a little over $5 million. The town's investment is a little over $1 million. And then there is a broadband grant that will go into in the next page. Over here on the bottom, you'll see that the Wisconsin Public Service Commission did award a grant on the bottom here, $816,000 through what's called CPF, the Capital Projects Fund grant program, to this project. So there's really 3 contributing factors investing in this project. So it's really a great joint partnership and effort to be able to bring this to fruition here in the town of Sevastopol. So just a little bit of information about AT&T, and you know, I didn't put too much information about AT&T as a whole in here. Be happy to answer some questions if you have any, or provide some additional information following today's conversation. But just from a Wisconsin perspective, we have over 1.4 million strand miles of fiber optics in Wisconsin. These numbers are a little bit dated as of July of 2023, and then over 425,000 customer locations in our state as of July of 2024. So AT&T is very interested in continuing to invest in Wisconsin, and that's why this project here in the town of Sevastopol was such an exciting win for us. So a couple things we just wanted to go over, because obviously we've been talking about this project for quite some time, and the broadband committee and the town board has put in an extensive amount of time and resources into bringing fiber to all of you. And you know, I think one of the questions out there is, okay, we've been talking about it. Well, when are we going to be able to order this darn stuff? So trust me when I say we are just as excited to be able to have you all order AT&T fiber as you are. So again, on the left side, again, another just bullet point of the project overview, things we've already talked about. But one thing I didn't highlight is it's a 24-month build. This is what we have committed to with our agreement with the town. And that really started September of 2024. And our goal is to have the project complete, meaning everybody who can order service is able to order AT&T fiber services by October of 2026. And again, those other bullet points on the left are things that I've already highlighted. On the right, this is where we're getting to kind of the phases of the project. And we didn't want to get into too much granular detail, but just give you a high-level perspective of what does this really look like. So we kind of look at our projects in about 5 phases. And there's a ton of work that goes into each of these phases, and there's mini phases between the phases. But for simplicity's sake, let's talk about these 5 phases. One is surveying and design. This is where we have our teams that are coming out, surveying the land, gathering field data, really looking at preparing what the layout and the design of the network is going to look like. This is where we're starting to make decisions on, is this gonna be aerial? Is this gonna be underground? And if we think it's gonna be aerial and then we run into some issues, do we have to change it to underground? So it's a very significant process. A lot of the town is in this phase or the next 2 phases currently. So the next phase is project release. This is where that surveying and the design of the project has been completed, and we're issuing to construction. And then construction is taking a look at it and taking the steps that they need to do in order to get the jobs ready. And then working on, in the next slide, we will show you a map that maybe gives you a little bit more indication of where each part of the town is at. But then we step into material and supply orders. This is where we're ordering fiber. We're ordering all of the equipment that's gonna go into the neighborhoods, into the actual community to bring fiber to the homes. The 4th phase is placement and construction. This is where the physical build-out begins before placement and construction. And I am going to ask Carol to, after I just summarize this, to kind of fill in some of the gaps here. Placement and construction, where we will have our contractors and subcontractors in your neighborhoods putting door hangers on your doors to let you know that this phase is going to be starting in your neighborhood very soon. To give you a little bit of an alert that construction is going to be starting in your neighborhood. And then once that construction phase is almost complete, we go into the final phase, which is testing and turn up. And actually, it's probably the final phase before the final phase, because as we're finalizing connections and ensuring that the fiber is functional and working properly, that's really when the sales team engages. And I can assure you, our sales team is very excited to be in the community and be here and, working with neighbors and neighborhoods and events and talking about AT&T Fiber, answering questions, and ultimately helping you bring AT&T Fiber into your homes and businesses. Carol, and if you wanna just share your background and
Sure.
what you do, and then fill in any of the gaps that I might have
Sure.
missed on those phases.
Sure, so I am the liaison between our construction and engineering department and our sales department. So when our construction team is like at this section at 4, where they're starting to do their placement, and when they're placing, they're also coming behind where they can, they're gonna splice right behind, so we're gonna be working in conjunction. You're gonna see splice trucks out there, you're gonna be seeing the bore machines, and you'll see pictures of those later on. But I'll start telling our sales teams, hey, we're right here, guys, we need to start getting our, all of our information ready for you folks. And then they'll start, when we get to this point where we're splicing and testing, and that's all we have left to do, then you'll start seeing the sales teams come out, and they'll door hanger on your doors. On each one of the door hangers, it'll have a contact number for you to call. It will be a local person for you. That local person is gonna be your person if, for some reason, the contractor left a bunch of stuff in your yards. Call that person, they'll get them in contact with me, and we'll get it straightened out. So, any questions on that part?
When is this all gonna happen?
It's gonna happen in phases.
Because we got the line right down the road right now.
Do ya? Yeah. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Yeah, and again, the project in the town of Sevastopol has started. So every community within the town is in at least one of these phases. It just depends on, where you are. Now, I'm gonna show you a map. It is not pretty. I am not an artist, but, I just wanted to show you this. I took some information out, I redacted some information because there were dates in here. These were internal dates, and I didn't wanna set any, expectations of dates. So that's why it doesn't look pretty. I apologize for that. But, these, the sections that you're looking at, and again, this is illustrative, this is not exact, so if you feel like your neighborhood is somehow missed in here, this is just a, kind of a messy map. So you'll see, each of these sections is what's called a DA, a distribution area. So basically, that's how we do our work, that's how our equipment is put into the communities. So you'll see some of them where it says the survey work is in progress, survey work is complete. This is, so this is the status of each of these regions currently. And obviously we'll continue to update these as the project goes on. So I know this isn't super pretty, but this at least gives you a little bit of an idea of the sections of the community that we're working on. Did you want to add anything, Carol?
No, I think we're all good.
Okay.
Question,
Mm-hmm.
what is this network connected to? And what's feeding this network?
Go ahead, you go ahead.
It's coming from our central office. It's all fiber from our central office right out to your house.
And where is that central office?
In Sturgeon Bay.
Okay.
Yep.
So then, as Carol mentioned,
One question in the back.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm
one
sorry.
question in the back.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I have several questions.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a lifetime patron of AT&T.
Thank you.
I presently live on Clark Lake, and I have AT&T as an experiment. When I first moved up here permanently, I was told not to tell anyone, and I'm sure there are more people. I'm on a fixed wireless plan, which you are presently phasing out, and you are no longer servicing. And my question is, I understand you're gonna have someone in Sturgeon Bay. If we have problems with our service, am I going to be calling the Philippines or India or whatever, or is there gonna be someone local that we can deal with if there is an issue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even on the forms that I have up in front here that show what our pricings are, Harry Gorski, his number is on there. You could give him a call.
So there will be someone after the fact, once this is installed,
Yeah,
that will take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Now, on your pricing, you don't have any indication of what your installation fee is. Can you give us an idea of what the installation would be?
There shouldn't be any installation charge at this point.
Oh, there isn't.
Right.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
a plus.
Mhm.
Okay, and my third question is, you know, AT&T's customer service is getting a real rap, and I have to say, I kind of agree with them. So when I've had your people come in to fix my wireless, because I go for 2.5 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks without any service at all up here, they are advising me in the interim to go with Starlink, and somebody, the last guy I think said go with T-Mobile. I have a hard time justifying spending the money for installation of those things if you're gonna come through. So how realistic? Am I gonna go for the next 2 years and still not have decent internet?
We can get your address if you'd like and see
Well, I put it
where.
on there for high
Oh,
priority.
okay, sure. Yeah,
And
we
you
can
know, I've
see
called
when,
your company many times and they, you know, so you're telling me things I kind of do know. But I just want to know, I really, you know, we've become a society that's dependent on internet.
Mhm.
And fortunately, my cell phone, which is not AT&T because they wouldn't sell me AT&T in Door County, that might have changed a little bit. But I don't have AT&T service, so I would say 90% of the time, my cell phone works up here. But I just want to know, in the interim of this thing, you have till 2026, how realistic is this project going to be to get it done within that time frame?
Oh, we will have it done by that time. We're gonna start turning up, you know, I would say midsummer, sometime, maybe sooner. Once things start getting into the ground, it'll start moving pretty fast, but it will be turned up in segments with the, you know, each group will be turned up at different times. We won't be turning it all up at once, but,
yeah, we don't
yeah,
wait
we-
until the whole thing is built and then turn it on for
No,
people
no,
to
I
order.
understand
So
that.
Yeah.
when each distribution area is
Okay.
ready, it will be turned on and ready for people to order. So, I don't know where you live, but
I'm
we
on
can
Clark
certainly
Lake.
check to see which, distribution area that is and, what the plan is specifically for that one, if we are able to get that answer. Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as, you know, the commitment to this project, I mean, I think anybody that's worked on this project with us can see that we're very committed to this. The first meeting we held with the board, we had, I think 12 people from the AT&T come in and people who have worked for the company for as little as 17 years, as long as 35 years. We are all very committed to this project and making sure that the residents and businesses in the town of Sevastopol have access to high-speed fiber through AT&T. So, yes. Chairman, do you call, we don't want to call.
No, that's all right.
I'm sorry, I can't see if there's somebody behind me. That map is awesome. It would be great, and I know you don't want to put hard dates on there because of things happen. But it'd be awesome if you could provide that to the town on an ongoing basis, so that instead of calling or wondering or guessing, we could go to the town website and say, hey, how's the project coming? How is my section doing? What's the next step? That would be very helpful.
I have a question. Right now, we live in the town of Egg Harbor, actually. And I am paying a monthly fee to Door County broadband for my Wi-Fi. So would this replace that?
Yes.
So then I could cancel my money that I'm paying to broadband when this is available?
But you would then pay, if you choose AT&T fiber, you would then pay AT&T monthly for your broadband service. It is a monthly service, yes.
So do you think that, I mean, we live overlooked, well, it's on a bluff and, you know, it's hard to get a signal where we're at. And you think that it would be better when, with AT&T, when you get through to us, that Door County broadband?
So this is fiber based, so it goes basically straight from the street into your home. You don't need to rely on a wireless connection, so it's a higher grade of service.
So
Yes.
how would we know when this is available and when to cancel our broadband?
Well, you don't wanna cancel any existing service until you order new service, it's installed, and it's working, and then you can cancel your old service, because we don't want anybody to be out of service. But you will know it's available, because our sales teams will come to the neighborhoods when it is ready for service to be ordered. We will aggressively be out here, making sure everybody knows we are ready. If you want AT&T fiber, we're ready to take your order. So, I assure you, we'll definitely be out here.
Can we call Harrison for instance, I got pipe run all the way out to the pole, and a line fished in for this to happen.
Okay,
I did it 20 years ago.
that's nice.
Can I call in for the wire? Because if I'm not around, nobody's gonna know how to get it from there to there.
Well, when our technicians come out to install it, they will come and knock on your door, and they won't be able to come into your house unless you're there. So someone at your house needs to be there, and you could tell whoever is there where the pipe is.
So we can't share that with Harrison Gorski now.
You could tell them, but it really is more for the installation team.
Yeah.
And like I said, someone has to be at the house in order for them to install, because they will have to come into your house to bring the fiber in all the way. Because it's fiber from start to finish.
And we are going to be selling our house, in end of, August. So I don't know if we should make this change or not make the change.
Well, we should
Not
make a
available.
change. We gotta get the wire in.
What?
It's not available
She's in
yet,
that
we can't make a change.
Okay, so they'll let us know when it's available.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we will.
so we'll leave what we got, we won't cancel it.
Right, that's a good plan.
Okay, thanks.
How do you prioritize the sections? Because I live on Clark's Lake and we seem to be the redheaded stepchild of the internet. You know, I mean, they've been promising stuff for years and years, and it's a pie in the sky.
You got that nice lake view though.
Yeah. Yeah, but,
There's a
you know, I'm just saying,
variety.
are they going for the low-hanging fruit, or what's going on here, you know?
There's a variety of factors that come into play, obviously existing network infrastructure, what investments need to be made. Carol, if you wanna finish that answer, I don't know if you know any more details.
I don't, I just know that when they send this out to, because it's contractors that come out here, and you'll see people walking around taking the surveys for you. I believe, and don't, I hate to even say this, but I believe they were going from the south to the north. They were trying to expand it like a spider web type situation,
Because I know they have
but
electricity, and a lot of places down West Shore Drive now is underground. And I was wondering if they were laying fiber optic cable with that.
and that I don't know.
I think,
I don't know.
let me just add something here that might help a little bit, which is, when we went through this entire process, evaluating the different vendors, and Brahman wasn't lying, it was a major undertaking. One of the caveats that we had as a town was that every single residence in our town was going to get high-speed broadband. So there won't be any second levels here. Everybody is going to get it. That was the contract that we signed. Our first contract passed, the first bid that we sent out excluded Clark Lake. We rejected that and then went and rebid again. And so we ensured and in writing that this is going to get to everybody that's there. You're gonna have the option of putting it in or not, but it's gonna be there, and as indicated, there's not gonna be an installation fee, and it's going to be high speed, and it's going to be turned on as they work through, I'm hoping it's my neighborhood first, but okay? But, I mean, you're all gonna get an opportunity, and, it's your tax dollars that work, folks. So we're gonna make sure that they deliver what they said. And there isn't gonna be a second-class level here for anyone. So, be comfortable in that. And I don't know, I'm maybe cutting Robin short here, what she said, but the pricing structure that we base this on as well should show you a significant savings if you're using one of the cable vendors, and even some of the other choices that are out there, like Starlink and others. So it's gonna be a positive win all the way around. And yeah, I'd love to see the truck digging out in front of the town hall tonight, but it still is a work in progress. And please go on with whatever you have.
If it makes sense,
Okay.
maybe we should finish our slide
Yeah,
presentation. That might
please.
answer some of the questions that people are thinking about.
Well, I was hoping.
And then, yes,
I mean, even though I don't live here anymore, so I don't have any skin in the game, but I was part of the communications committee. I believe if the contract didn't change too much, and I just wanted to get this clarified for everybody, like when the initial installation, you have, I believe it's like when you guys, when you subscribe, I believe it was in part of the contract that it was installed to the house free of charge, but then once it gets passed and so on and so far, and this whole project is completely done, if you decide then that you want the fiber, then it's no longer free installation. Is that?
I believe there's a 1 year,
Okay.
a 1 year free install
Okay.
that we've committed to in our agreement, yes.
Okay, I just wanted, because, people were like not sure exactly
Yes.
whether they wanted to do it right away or not. And I
Yep.
just thought, letting them know that caveat, that would help you guys, at least when it came to building it out as well.
Yep, thank you, good clarification, and we'll make sure to highlight that in some follow-up information. Good. Carol wanted to mention, some of the information that we have up front on the tables, so we'll let her do that, and then we'll just zip through the rest of our slides and see if there's any additional questions.
I do have a priority list here that if you wouldn't mind signing up for it. I put it up here for two reasons. One, of course, so we can get information to you as soon as it becomes available for your particular area. Also, and this is, again, what we're thinking about doing, we've done it in other areas, is when we turn up a neighborhood, we'd like to do like a, kind of a launch party. And we will have a sales team in there, and then we would also bring in some technicians. So if, like, say you order it this day, we will either be able to say, hey, the technician's right here, he can install it right then that day, or the next day. That's what this list is for. So if I can pass it around, anybody want to sign up? And
No, I don't want to.
Or we can just leave it at the table.
okay.
So, well, Carol's, and there's some additional information, in front of the table too, I think.
Yep.
Yep, I'll go ahead.
And we also have some of the pricing information here also, to just grab on your way out.
Thank you. So I'll just zip through these slides quick, and then maybe this will answer some of the questions that are in people's minds. We are gonna, like we mentioned, we're gonna put either door hangers or yard signs to let people know when we are coming to the neighborhood, when to expect construction, and those will have contact information. There is an 800 number, I think that's the one, that, if you have any questions or concerns, there's also a website you can go to, att.com/notify-me, and you can put your address in there, and you should get an automatic notification via email when fiber is getting to the point where it's going to be ready for you to order the service. So we are going to be out in the neighborhoods communicating when the right time is right. So if you see someone across the street, or down the street getting a yard sign, but you didn't get, or not a yard sign, a door hanger, but you didn't get one yet, you might be in a different distribution area. So yours will be coming soon. And then we wanted to talk a little bit about markings too, because these are some of the questions that we get when we are doing big projects like this in a community. So our contractors will be out, and they'll be doing doing markings to mark different utilities to make sure that our teams are aware of where locates of other underwire facilities are and where ours is as well. So we'll use white spray paint to show the proposed placement of a main connection box, and then you'll see potentially see some additional colors out there. So don't be alarmed when, if you come home and you see some little flags in your yard, or you see some markings on your grass. Those are, and please don't remove them. Those are good. Don't move them around.
Yeah.
Do you wanna add anything on that?
Yeah, so if, let's say we were going to be crossing over any existing utilities, what they typically will do is they'll bring in a vac truck, and they by law have to legally, they will go down, expose that existing cable, and then if we're boring, we go right over the top of it. So there's no damage to any other utilities in the area that we're boring. That's the purpose of that, yeah.
Is the bulk of this gonna be buried service?
So the question is, if bulk of it can be buried, it's gonna be a combination of buried and aerial, depending on, what's already in place. I think that typically would like to use the path of least resistance and use what's already in place if possible. We do have partnerships with different utilities, Sturgeon Bay Utilities, We Energies, and we really try to do what's in the best interest of that particular area. This is just a couple of photos of some of the equipment you might see out in the neighborhoods. Again, they're gonna be out there placing aerial or buried cable in your neighborhood. There's different types of machinery. Again, they might be trucks or equipment that have an AT&T logo on the side. They may be trucks or equipment that have our contractors or subcontractors on the side. Any AT&T contractors or subcontractors should identify themselves as such. So if you ever have questions, they should have some sort of identification and be able to verify that they're working on a job on behalf of AT&T.
And they should, before they start their work in your neighborhood, that contractor should also be putting a door hanger on your doors to give the contact information for that company also.
Do you want to explain this one?
So this is what our tie-in marks, our tie-in equipment looks like. Either it'll be a pedestal that's over there on the left, a handhole, which this looks very big. It's about 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, and about 3 feet deep. And then the flower pot. So what you'll see is you'll either have a pedestal or a handhole around your neighborhood. A lot of times in those two, there'll be the splice cases or the terminals. The flower pot over on the right-hand side, that is for if we can pull in a drop to your house, and that'll be a place where our technicians can get into it.
And these are placed in the right-of-way or an easement.
Correct. Yeah, and then, so this is just a look at what our splicers will look like. You will see splicing trucks or a splicing trailer, like what we see in these two on the right and the middle. And then, of course, some of our technicians are able to work at the pedestal. What he's doing right there is he's installing a terminal. And what that terminal is it basically is going to, the installation technician, when you order the service, is gonna come, he'll put his drop, he'll connect up a fiber drop to where that tech is sitting. And if it's aerial, of course, he'll go over to your house, or if it's buried, he will lay a drop on the ground to your house. And then we will have a buried contractor come in who bury our drops. And they basically slice it in and fold it over. It's about 6 to 12 inches deep, the drop going to your house.
So don't be alarmed if you see someone install and there's an AT&T fiber on the ground for
Right.
a couple of days before somebody comes in to put it underground, so.
What happens if the teenage person that's cutting the grass gets it?
Please tell the teenagers not
Yeah.
to mow over it.
Yeah.
If accidents happen,
Yeah.
incidents and accidents do happen, so please just call us if you notice that.
Yeah, and they will put caution tape on it, and they can paint it out. There will be a little bit of flexibility where they can pick it up and mow underneath it and that kind of stuff. Depending upon how busy the buried contractor is, and if it's going to be during the winter months. During the winter months, our contractor is not burying drops, of course, because the ground is frozen. So that will be on the ground for the winter. And if it has to cross over I'm gonna say, if it has to cross over like your driveway to get to your house, they will pre-bury that drop. So you wouldn't be able to get the service that day. They will have a contractor come out and bury the drop first and then connect it into your house.
And again, if you have any specific concerns about something you see in your yard or your neighborhood, just contact us, and we'd be happy to answer those questions. Restoration work, so if there's any grass seeding that needs to occur, we will do our best to minimize disruptions. Our contractors know that they do need to go back and remedy any disarray to that local area where they did work. Again, we will make sure you have contact information and phone numbers to call. If something isn't fixed to your satisfaction, we'll definitely try to do our best to make sure that that's fixed quickly. And then we can get into the pricing and the speeds, just high level. Again, Carol brought some really great one-pagers that has all of this information on it. There's speeds from 300 to 500 to 1 gig. Anywhere from $55 a month, $65 a month, $80 a month. These are plus taxes. And again, for that first year, there is no installation charge.
How it speeds up and down or just?
Yes, yes, sorry, I did not say that.
Okay, she's up and down.
Yes, yeah. And then again, and this is the bottom of the sheet that you have, that you can take copies of. But there's Harrison's contact information. He's the local sales associate. We do have other sales associates who are getting ready to be in the community. You do also have the retail store in Sturgeon Bay. They will all be very familiar with and aware of this project. So you have a lot of contact information to reach out to as far as local contacts. To the question that was asked before about, who do we call? These are the folks we would prefer that you call and work with to order service and get any questions answered. But there is an 800 number, AT&T customer service, that you're more than welcome to call 24/7 as well if you're not able to reach somebody, or if you want to call somebody on a Sunday afternoon. Harrison might not answer, but
You can also go to att.com too.
Yep.
And put your address in.
One of our commitments is also offering affordable internet, low-cost internet for those homes that do qualify. So there are some specific qualifications for this, but this program would provide internet service for $30 per month, up to 100 megabits per second, or $20 per month, just depending on qualifications. So that's called Access from AT&T. Just another high level overview of some of the sales communication. This might be one of the door hangers you see out on your doors from the sales team. Again, we're going to be hyper aggressive in reaching out to neighborhoods. Aggressive is probably not the right word, but we're going to be in your community. We're going to make sure people see us. We're doing press releases. We're going to be doing hopefully some media events. We'd love to do some community events and sponsorships of local community events that you have, just to get the brand out there and for AT&T to have a presence. So this is a copy of one of those door hangers you might see. Again, there's the att.com/notify me that you can go to right now and put your address in if you'd like to. And then this is very special, the AT&T guarantee. We are the only company in our industry that offers a guarantee on our fiber and wireless services. So we guarantee that you will get the connectivity that you depend on once it is available and once you order it and once it's installed and working. Service that you deserve. We stand behind our brand and we stand behind the services that we provide. And the AT&T guarantee is something that we are very proud to be able to offer. And that's all I had as far as slides. We definitely want to open it up to questions, but again, I want to make sure that everyone in this room and whoever might be watching online understands how much effort was put in by the broadband committee members, the town board. There were many late night meetings, a lot of emails, a lot of great communication, a lot of advocating and negotiating on behalf of of their neighbors, of all of you. You know, this was a really extensive process, very complex. And I'm very proud that AT&T was selected, but I hope you guys all know how much time and effort the people in front of you put into this, and those members of the broadband committee and the town board who aren't here tonight. But it was really great working with all of them. The town of Sevastopol is a great partner, and we're very proud to be here. So that's all we had to present, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Questions from, why don't you just turn?
How about I thought that would be. I have questions that divide really into two areas. One, I live on Clark Lake as well, and one is local. We lose electricity about 8 times a year. Many of us have a generator. I'd like to see if this information is helpful to the people trying to decide if we're aerial or underground. I don't understand enough about the connectivity to know. The other thing is, some of us are in wetlands, and I don't know, 6 inches we won't be underwater, but for some of us at 12 inches we would be. So I just don't know who accesses this, like, hyper-local information.
Yeah. So what do you have out there now? Is it any sort of aerial cable? Because that is, if you have aerial cable now,
No. Well,
that's, or
no.
poles up, I guess is what I should say.
Frontier.
Oh, no, we have Starlink.
And your telephone services?
Yeah, power
That's why the
aerial,
power goes
that's,
out.
that's what we will probably
fall
follow.
behind.
I can just, you know, as far as like high level, I can speak that's when we-
WPS is in the process of switching a lot of that to buried service.
okay,
And on West Shore, they already did a lot of that, so, and some of that work is to be done like concurrently with your work.
okay.
It would be great if there'd be some coordination, because you guys. can
That's what I
save a
was
lot.
asking,
Yeah.
how do you get this really local information to your team?
Yeah, and I will reach out to Jeff Oldenburg is the associate director for the engineering piece of this, and he is excellent. I know he has been in talks with your power company, so I will double check with him and make sure that, hey, did you know that this was going on? Because that is valuable information for sure.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and I think if any of the neighborhoods have some kind of specific historical information that might be helpful as we're coming into your neighborhoods, by all means, reach out to Harrison, reach out to us.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know, Carol might be the best to get that kind of information because she can get that directly to the engineering team. But, you know, keep in mind, you know, AT&T's done business in the state of Wisconsin for about 150 years. We're very aware of, you know, any sort of wetland or DNR restrictions, and we have to obviously
Sure.
comply. And as far as, what would you just say, the losing electricity, that's good information for us to have, but we'll definitely design it in a way that we think is gonna be best for the project, but that would be helpful for us to know.
And the second question I have is a financial one. Are any of the on-again, off-again tariffs or cut funding from the Fed going to influence either the Wisconsin PSC grant or your ability to get, or the cost of supplies that might ultimately affect the dollars per month we need to pay? I mean, that original equation. I know you're trying to predict the future, but it's here now.
So we have a little over $800,000 that is of funding for this project in particular through the Wisconsin Public Service Commission CPF grant. I have no indication whatsoever that those dollars are at risk.
Okay.
I've not heard anything that would give me any indication. We're complying with the Wisconsin Public Service Commission in our reporting, and I don't have any indication that is, those funds are at risk. As relates to
Supplies.
the supply chain, the beauty of doing business with AT&T is we're a pretty large company, and we have some pretty extensive relationships with different vendors and contractors. And I don't see any concerns or issues with those relationships having to do with supply and procurement.
and Corning is who we use for our fiber, and they're, you know, US made. We actually asked that same question of our AVP a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
We're like, hey, what's going on? And he said, everything that we use, except for some minute things, are all made in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
Sure.
I'm in a little different position than a lot of people in the room. I've been happily getting 300 megabit per second on Spectrum for 10 years. And trust me, they send me email every day reminding me how great Spectrum is. Every day. First of all, I'm going to remember the promise that if you have to temporarily put something unburied, that it will be, quote, a few days or maybe a season. We've had a coax laying on the ground for 10 years, and that was going to be buried, and it's still there 10 years later. One of
Let
my
me tell you,
questions.
if it goes past a month, please call me. I will get someone out
There's a
there.
beautiful orange coax that goes from the road all the way down to the house. It's been there for 10 years. It's self-burying by this point.
Jim, they'll probably bury it for you instead of the fiber.
Probably true.
Yes.
My two questions are, you say installation, free for the first year, et cetera, et cetera. What does that mean? Does that mean all the way to to my present Spectrum modem, or is that to the box instead?
Nope, to the modem.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not to this.
Oh, not to the Spectrum, no, it'll be our own, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would bring our own
Because it's,
equipment.
presently it's coax into the house and then it's.
Yeah, nope, it'll be fiber.
My final thing is that I noticed on your map, and I know that's unofficial and blah, 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 that my particular territory along Bay Shore Drive, we classified as being surveyed. Well, SBU, in conjunction with AT&T and actually Spectrum, is putting conduit down Bay Shore Drive this summer. And so does that mean the surveying is from the road to the house, or, because it's all laid out, because you say you start surveying June 1, SBU tells me that conduit's going in this summer. And,
Well, the surveying is also determining where we're gonna put the terminal and how we're gonna feed the house. Not bringing anything to your house, but,
okay.
like where are we gonna put the terminal so we're not
Okay,
crossing other people's property.
Where you put the flower pot or the pedestal.
Yeah, exactly,
at the
what
house,
we're gonna use there.
That's all fine then.
Yep.
Is it gonna be two pedestals then, one for AT&T and one for, because they're undergrounding SBU in that territory? Two pedestals, or you just go in?
We would be two pedestals, yep, we'll be separate of the other utilities.
And I know that our teams are talking to SBU as well as E Energies, to see if there's any work that can be done at the same time.
Well, I'm told by SBU people that they're putting in conduit for all three this summer.
It's starting this summer, it's not gonna be completed this summer. And also,
SBU fell told me yesterday it'll be done by September.
it'll be started, it won't be completely finished, because it won't be to the homes. And the two conduits cannot share, you can't have high voltage and low voltage, they can't be in the same pedestals, that's how you electrify people. I'm an electrician, so I work with SBU every day.
I'm an electrical engineer, so.
Well, I'm just saying, because, well, you asked a question that didn't sound like an electrical engineer, when you asked if it's in the same pedestal, so I was just trying to clarify for other people in the room too, Jim. So, yeah, so they will be, SBU will be going up Bay Shore Drive, and final, location is Dunn Road.
Yeah. They're
And
both
Lori Lane.
5 conduits, that's my guess.
Yeah, so then public service will be going further if and when they do.
What happens with new service, like a year and a half from now, somebody builds a home, do then they get hit with installation charge?
The question is, if somebody builds a home in a year and a half, would they have to pay an installation charge? I'll get some clarification around what was in the agreement. I just don't remember the exact terms of that. So I'll get some clarification and follow up with the town on that.
Well, one last thing, you had 3 different speeds, 300, 500, and a gig. When you buy it, can you just buy 300, and if you need more, it's just a matter of paying more and it works? Or is there equipment change out?
I do not think so. I think you have to purchase the speed that you would like. I don't think it just automatically jumps to the speed that you want to use at that time. That would be a better question for Harrison on the sales side. I just don't, I'm not an expert.
That would compel me
Yeah, I
to get
apologize.
the gauge service.
Yeah, we're not changing anything.
Yeah, I don't think we would change the hardware, but you would need to order that particular service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question. When the fiber cable comes into the house, you have a piece of equipment into which the fiber cable plugs?
Yep, into the modem.
It's a modem?
Yep, and we'll bring that with, the technician will bring it with.
That comes, okay.
Yep,
Then what do we plug into the modem, or what?
they will
can-
actually help you get everything set up before they're done. Like, they will get all, everything that you have connected right now, they will help you reconnect everything at that time.
It's usually a modem to a router.
Yeah, but the technician will make sure
And
that you're all.
does the modem require electric power?
Yes.
Just like one.
Anyone else? Otherwise, oh, go ahead.
As far as the abandoned aerial poles, abandoned junction boxes, anything else that you guys might go around or change to new, are you guys gonna extract those poles and remove those boxes, or is that gonna be property owners?
I'm not sure there
I-
would be.
There
So
shouldn't
the
be.
the poles are typically, if power is on them, they usually own them.
No, there's AT&T
I don't-
poles running across properties.
Oh, is there?
I'm asking a question if you guys reroute it and run on the power poles or share poles
Uh-huh.
on the easements. The old poles that are existing, are you guys gonna extract those?
We typically, yes, we do. If we take the cable off, we take everything.
Okay.
If there's nothing left on the pole, we'll take the pole out, yes.
Okay, there's one in my yard that's been standing there for 4 years now.
It has nothing on it,
Great. You guys were the last ones to be on it, and they're
and they
ready for
didn't
you.
do anything with it?
It's standing there.
Most power poles, if they're
It's
not
not
in
a
the,
power pole.
most poles, that if they're not in the easement or the right of way, if they're on your property, most of them are the owners, the property owners.
It's in the highway easement,
Okay,
power's been extracted from
okay,
it.
so it's not in your yard, it's in the easement.
It's on the property line.
Yep.
It's a dead pole.
I don't know the
Yeah, it's
answer to
good,
that
yeah.
question,
I'm
but
just
I'd be happy
asking
to have
because of the
someone
beautification
look at it.
committee, you know, to make sure that
yeah.
we make sure our town is, you know, whether it's gonna lie in us or somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know the answer specifically, you know, Daryl would know better than I would, but if there's a particular location that you believe it's an AT&T pole, we can certainly look at it, have someone come
You
look
guys
at
already
it.
surveyed it, yeah, it's yours.
If I have an existing series of poles that currently have AT&T wire on it for telephone, does that necessarily mean that that is what will be replicated again, or will it go to underground?
It kind of depends on what the survey comes back with. You know, it's hard to say without actually looking at the pole line as to what, you know, what's out there. That's why we had to have somebody come out and survey it. Yeah,
When will I find out that answer in terms of the survey and installation on my property?
so would you say it's on your property? Is it like your situation where it's in the right of way?
No,
And but it's
coming
on
down
your
the
physical?
driveway on my physical property.
Okay, so it's,
It's coming from a pedestal box out by the road, and it then comes up onto a pole, goes across poles to the house.
oh, so it's like your drop going to your house?
Correct.
Oh, I
Will
mean,
that be
that's
replicated
typically
then?
what the installation technician is gonna do is, yeah,
They'll
that's not,
replicate
I'm
that?
sorry, that's not part of what what our contractor is out there surveying. What they're surveying now is like the main line, and then when you order the service, that's when you're gonna get a technician out there to take a look at how he's gonna run the drop into your house.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, one last call. Anybody else? Otherwise, we will move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, it's just, our daily operations, we're interacting with them all the time, and as we get updates, we will always discuss them at our board meeting monthly. That's what Jeannie has been doing and will continue to do, and we will also post that information. We're all obviously anxious to make some changes. A lot of us are paying a lot more, some of us had terrible service, so we'll focus on it and we'll inform you as soon as they tell us. And the only caveat I would just emphasize again is that this contract is through the PSC with the funding, and it's a 2-year commitment, so it's got to be done. So it's not just something between us and AT&T, and we're left as the enforcement arm. So, okay, thank you again for coming. All right. We'll just drift back to the agenda here for a couple minutes. Highlights from last year. Does anybody want to guess what the #1 highlight from last year was? AT&T. I will not say anymore. Broadband contract with AT&T. So that was numero uno on our list. Second thing that really is I think is going to be a great addition to our park, and that is the completion of a new restroom that's going to be family-friendly, handicapped accessible, increased capacity stalls, etc. The restroom itself is like almost 100% complete. We're waiting for some sidewalks to go in, and we have some grass and some finish work, so to speak. But the building itself and everything inside is ready to go. As soon as we can turn the water on, get the sidewalk in, we'll all have an opportunity to go over and use it. I think you're going to be very pleased with that investment. And we are very grateful, as it was mentioned by our auditor, to Door County Community Foundation and to Raybrook, which contributed basically half of the funding. And we had put aside the money at the town to come up with the match, and that enabled us to do it. So, great. Future project is to remodel our concession stand, as we see that the last remaining need at our park. A couple other things that we did over the last year is we transitioned our town board meeting and other public meetings to YouTube. So if you can view our meetings on YouTube versus the charter cable channel, which had very limited access. 300 to 400 people in the town had access to that. YouTube provides everybody a much better way to view the meetings, and it gives you some flexibility in how you want to view it because you can fast forward, pause, rewind, etc. With that, we shut down our cable TV station. It's kind of surprising how few people actually called to complain about loss of charter. Charter or Spectrum, whichever you prefer. So that I think is a positive move on our part. The only other thing that we did last year, and that was also mentioned by the auditor, was we had a property reval that occurred first time in 17 years. We probably waited a little too long. But at any rate, there were some people who experienced a higher movement, people that had lower taxes. Everybody's valuation across the town went up dramatically, which the net effect was to lower the mill rate. So in many cases, most people had little or no change to their taxes. The requirement by the state is anytime the property valuation swings above or below by 10%, then the town has the responsibility to do a reval. And the reason we waited so long is that as soon as we got to the point where we thought we had to do it, we had a dandy little setback recession, which moved everything well below. And so we didn't have to invest the $165,000 that it cost to do that. So obviously the market is going to determine when the next one has to be done, and we've already started to put some money aside. But the final note I would share with you is that I went back over the last 3 years, and there are 14 towns in Door County. And of the 14 towns, we were the 5th lowest in taxes in 23, the 5th lowest in 24, and the 3rd lowest in 25. So I think we do a good job of managing your money on our expenditures. as reflected by the fact that we are positioned well below the average for the other towns in our community. And with that, I would just ask if any of the supervisors have any comments they'd like to add, and if not, then we'll move on to any other concerns from the electors. Anything by chance?
I won't go into specifics, but I would like to recognize those residents and individuals who volunteer their time to serve on our town-related councils, commissions, and committees. So thank you to all of those individuals.
Good. Anyone else? All right, hearing none. All right, next item on our agenda is vision, future needs, and/or projects. And hopefully nobody mentions broadband. But if there's anything that you would like us to take a look at over the next few years, months, days, whatever, now would be a great time to share that with us. So. Yes.
As far as EMRs are concerned, are we gonna look at expanding them?
Are we gonna what?
Are we gonna look at expanding them or passing them on to somebody else?
We haven't decided that. That is a topic for our next monthly meeting. It'll be on our agenda to review the EMR status.
So, give us a little insight on that, if you would, please.
I don't have any insight to share. We have it as a topic of discussion at our next board meeting to review the bylaws and the status. That's pretty much it. So, you heard the fire chief. There's no discussions going on with them. Not to say that something couldn't, but there's nothing with
I
respect
think
to
there
that.
was, but here nor there, do you honestly think you guys meddling with EMRs
Are we what?
and trying to save money, passing them on to somebody else, is that in the best interest of the townspeople?
You're off base, John. That's not,
I'm not off base.
that's not what we're looking at.
Well,
That was not a discussion item. You heard it from the fire chief. So, someone else have anything else? Yes, Glenn.
Thank you. I'm not sure if this is the correct place or not, but I was hoping to bring up maybe at the Park and Rec Committee a modification of the dam to consider some kind of a manual but hydraulic pulley system to deal with the grates. The weather has been getting windier and the waves have been higher and stronger, and we've had more rain. And frankly, it's seems like the requirement to be able to bench press 350 pounds so that you can move these incredibly heavy grates that are filled with sticks and grass is really unrealistic. And I have no idea what it costs, but I don't know the correct place to bring it up. But for a future need, I would like to put that on a consideration list.
We did actually explore that. I did that
Oh,
a number of years ago with Doc, I'm sorry, his name escapes me.
Mark Wisey?
Mark, thank you.
Oh, okay.
We chased that down. I actually talked to an engineering firm and talked to a couple people with respect to that. You're right. I mean, it's a task. The cost at that time was pretty exorbitant, and I think Mark and I actually discussed a little bit about the fact that Clark Lake, I think, was also interested in trying to sponsor something with that.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was gonna be a lot larger project than I would have guessed it might have been to design something that can take the pressure off that grate and still be able to raise and lower it. But that's not to say we can't look at it again, but we did take a look at it, and I wanna say 5, 6 years ago or more.
Would Amy have that information, what you looked at then, or could you share it with me so I have some idea what's been done to think about maybe how that would be appropriate for the needs we see now?
I don't have a clue anymore. I'd have to look and see.
I can take a look for you, Gwen.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
If there's something there, yes.
Okay.
So, well, we can look at it again. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Jim?
well, it's April 15th and I paid my federal state taxes today, so my mind is on government and how it's doing for me. There's an adage that all government is, all politics is local. And I'm very pleased with the local politics, at least as far as comes to Sevastopol. And I want to congratulate the chairman and the 2 supervisors for their impressive victory on the election this month.
Thank you.
I think there were 2 votes, 2 write-ins.
I think there were 41, but who's counting? So,
Donald Duck and anyone. I look at the annual report and I see how much you're being compensated for this job. And all I can do is say thank you for your service. You're not doing it for the money.
thank you, appreciate that. Also the board members, I'm sure. So,
As the suggestions, keep taking care of the roads, fix the potholes, protect and promote the natural and residential character of this community. I think that's been a theme in the last years. Keep it up. Take care of the students, that's seeds the future, and be as fair as possible. In a specific project, a long dreamt and BSPOA, as Bayshore Property Owners Association, has dreamt about improving the bike path or bike access or usage of Bayshore Drive. I know that's a county road, and there's all kinds of discussions of this over the years, but easements are a problem, et cetera, but that gets a big workout, and anything that the town can contribute in thought or any other way to making something happen on that would be great. Again, thank you for your service.
thank you. The bikes, and Mark actually did some homework on that last year, right?
Yes, and we're gonna hand it over to the new bike chairman. We actually said that.
Okay.
Right, Jim? There is things in the county that they're trying to connect the entire county.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the north, and it kind of ends at Sevastopol. They have the projects kind of mapped out for us, and they wanted us to go across County P from highway to highway, and that's the main thoroughfare from point A to B. So they didn't do a whole lot of homework when they started doing the mapping, but they got something. This was, I don't even know how many years ago they had started this. Over time, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get something done.
Yeah, there's a pile of bike signs on the intersection of, is it Bluff and Whitefish Bay? I think there's 4 or 5, and they kind of go like this. It reminds me of the sign that they had up at the MASH TV show. You know, you could go anywhere you wanted because they were all bike routes. So we've done some looking at that with the park committee, but there's been a lot of confusion on the direction.
Of course, Drive, the shoulder is very short, very small. The average is about 2.5 feet.
Yeah.
There's also new movement by Door County Trails. They're actually gonna present at our unit meeting next month, so they're trying to get some connection going. Biking and walking.
Silent sports, I think, right?
Yeah, so
Okay, anything else from the floor? You want to keep moving along here for your benefit? All right. Announcements? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I thought we were on projects.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, could
All
I
right, we gotta
have,
back up because Gwen's got something
Gwen has
before we
a-
get to resolution.
Gwen has an
Resolutions,
electric
which I
concern.
skipped. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I was wondering if I could have the privilege of presenting for about 3 minutes information that I've been gathering over the last couple of months regarding artificially enhanced wake boating and the ordinance on Clark Lake.
Sure, I'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay, I can talk fast. My name is Gwen Grayboys at 5343 South Lake Road.
Gwen, can you grab a mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Thank you.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to share some information with the town board and the members here in attendance with some information that's new to me, and I wanted to share it with you regarding where things stand locally and statewide on enhanced wake boating. In March, I attended the Door County Land Conservation Committee, And a presentation was given there by Darren Kuhn, who's the WDNR boating administrator. And in his words, quote, "the DNR spokesperson for all things wake boating."
Glenn?
Could you move over just a little bit? You're literally right in front of a light.
In front of a light? Okay.
You're on camera.
Oh, gotcha.
Perfect.
Okay, I don't even see the camera. Keep going without the door in the parking lot.
You've used up 2.5 minutes, Glenn.
Okay, so anyway, Warden Kuhn said that unequivocally, there will be no recommendation coming from the Wisconsin DNR on wake boating this year. So holding off on further consideration on the hope that the DNR is going to give us guidance is futile. I went to the Wisconsin Lakes and River Convention in Stevens Point in April and learned the following. The wake boat manufacturing industry has 2 lobbyists in Madison. At this current time, they are lobbying for the following: that wake boating can be done with only a 200-foot perimeter from the shore. There is no minimum depth for the lake, and most importantly, they are lobbying to have removal of the local control of lakes and have this jurisdiction transferred to the state. As I'm sure everybody in here honestly knows, this is inadequate protection for Clark Lake and for our community on so many levels. I interpret this as the wake boating industry just not wanting to deal with this issue again and again and again as they make bigger and more powerful and more destructive boats. Environmental groups have formed a coalition now of 60 organizations anchored by Wisconsin Lakes, Last Wilderness Alliance, Wisconsin Green Fire, Lakes at Stake, and Wisconsin Wildlife Federation. Several of these organizations have published information that I've shared with the board and the committee and members previously. These organizations have been joined by Walleyes Forever, First Muskies Incorporated, Wisconsin Trout Unlimited, and Wisconsin Trappers, along with many lake associations. They have now felt the need to hire 1 lobbyist in Madison. This coalition is calling for the following legislation: local control, that local municipalities' existing right to enact or maintain local ordinances that are more restrictive than the current state minimums will be preserved. In other words, any ordinance that we get passed now that may be more restrictive than what may or may not come down from the state can be, quote, grandfathered in. They're recommending 700 feet from shore as the boats get bigger and more powerful. They are recommending a 30-foot depth on a lake. Clark Lake, biggest depth at a tiny point somewhere off the west shore is about 28 feet. And importantly, a recommendation for proof of decontaminated ballast tanks before boats can enter a new lake to prevent the transfer of invasive species in these tanks. There are currently quagga mussels, which is the big ugly brother to zebra mussels that are now in Lake Geneva, and we have 30 lakes in Wisconsin that already have spiny water flea. The spiny water flea eats the phytoplankton, and the tiny fishes cannot eat the spiny water flea because it feels like swallowing fish bones. And so your native fishing populations will decline when they have no food. I have personally spoken with Representative Kitchens at the most recent Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund meeting at Crossroads. He was actually surprised to find out how shallow Clark Lake was, so I took that opportunity to mail him some additional information. I have encouraged him not to support any legislation that takes existing municipalities' rights away in their ability to manage lakes, and any legislation that does not protect the lakes from environmental destruction. I had previously emailed Senator Jock information about Clark Lake and our quest for an ordinance to prohibit artificially enhanced wake boating earlier this year. He had tried twice to bring legislation forward to restrict wake boating that would have protected Clark Lake. 1,000 acres, I can't remember what it was, 25 feet, anything under 1,000 acres would have been excluded, no matter the depth of the lake, but the bills never made it out of committee. I was fortunate to be able to attend his town hall yesterday in Egg Harbor. Many of the attendees in the audience were shocked that removing local control of lakes would even be on the table with the wake boating lobbies. I asked him to not support any legislation that removes local control of our lakes and does not protect our lakes adequately. So in closing, the question I see is, do we want Clark Lake to become a water park ruled by a few powerful boats, or to remain a healthy lake protected for all by the Wisconsin Public Doctrine? Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Thank you. All right. So we backed up for Gwen, and I accidentally skipped over any resolutions that might be there.
Can we go to 8? I have one for the.
Oh, you want me to back up? Sure.
There's been some concern at school for the people, the students that have to walk across from school to their homes just across from school, the small area. Because our sign says 15 miles an hour per mile per hour when students are present. As cars approach, they can't see the students present because the buses are recessed back into the school. But the kids are coming forward and going across the road. There's been a couple incidents recently where utility truck has passed a car that was going 15 at 40 or 50 miles an hour. I mean, it's a scary thing. So some of the teachers and the parents are proposing that to have a school crossing, but it would be a lot easier, I would assume, to have the signs say when the light is flashing 15 miles per hour, because we do have a flashing light ability there.
It is there.
But that does not, the sign does not say it.
Yes.
So as, nope, it says
Really?
15 children are present. When
It says when children are present.
Yeah. But if the sign is, if it would say 15 miles per hour when the sign is flashing, when the light is flashing,
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the.
they would slow down, even if they don't see this, 8-year-old that is just starting to come up out of the ditch and go through. It's a danger, and it's a problem that could probably be solved very easily.
I have no idea where that would end up, because it's a state highway in the county, and I'm guessing we would probably have to go to the county to try and, no idea. Could ask.
Didn't we approach that subject once before about getting a crosswalk? So you can see in other areas where they have the little stand-up thing or whatever, and the hash marked on the highway. And for some reason, we couldn't do it, or there was a problem, or maybe we didn't explore it enough, but having it marked would maybe help too.
Thank you for taking it.
It was something that I.
It's in your territory now.
Yeah, everything is.
Passing the ball.
We're skipping 8.
Sorry.
Officially skipping. We'll see if we.
Those are your future voters, by the way.
We have a representative here from the county that will also, I'm sure, backpedal, right?
I have a recommendation.
Oh, cool.
You have Door County Sheriff's Department representatives at your school, and I think they carry a lot of weight
That's
relative
good.
to having the public safety officer talk to the highway commissioner, Thad Ash. And I'm sure between the public safety officer, Sheriff Tammy Sterner, they could provide a recommendation to help improve that.
I mean, there's certainly the sheriff, there's plenty of people out here, but sometimes there's 2 of them, one on both sides. So.
And we could raise it to the Highway Safety Commission quarterly meeting.
Okay. Good idea, Hugh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Resolutions, anybody have any written resolutions? like to submit? Seeing none. All right, we will move on to item 10, which is the announcements. The 2025 open book is scheduled for Friday, June 20th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the Town Hall in person. And the 2025 Board of Review is Tuesday, July 22nd, 1 p.m. here at the Town Hall. And our last item of business would be to adjourn to our annual meeting in April 21 of 2026, which is the third Tuesday in April.
I so moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good evening. Hey, Jim, I have a document you might like.
No, hey, April 21st is actually a Monday, not a Tuesday.
Sorry.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know if you saw that, but I know that they said
Go back
they're
to your
gonna
old-
do 2 years.